With reports that the Buffalo Sabres will buy out Jeff Skinner before July 1st, I'm going to tell you why he's linked to the Leafs and why he would be the perfect fit. And Leafs top goalie prospect Artur Akhtyamov coming over to North America. He's looking like the goalie of the future, and this is bigger than we're expecting. I'll get into this later on this episode, but before I start, I just want to give a shout out to the 3,600 of you guys that are subscribed, and I can't forget the 12 of you either. But with that, I just want to say if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit the subscribe button. We're going to be covering everything to do with the NHL, and with this time of year, there's so much to cover, so if you don't want to miss anything, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Jeff Skinner buyout. Now, obviously, we got reports from Chad, who is a Sabres insider, writes for the Sabres, great writer, so make sure to go check him out. But he said, this isn't breaking news. Freeman and Merrick were on this week's ago. Multiple sources have confirmed to me the Sabres will buy out the last 3 years of Jeff Skinner's contract, bearing an unforeseen future, and he discussed this in the article. So the big thing with Jeff Skinner is obviously how big his contract was. Jeff Skinner is getting paid $9 million per year. Obviously, he is in the tail end of this. It was signed when he first went to Buffalo on June 7th of 2019. So with the Sabres buying out the final 3 years of his contract, Jeff Skinner is set to become a free agent going into July 1st. Now, obviously, Jeff Skinner is a guy that's going to produce in a middle six, in a top six, or in a bottom six role. I mean, we've seen him in the fourth line role with the Buffalo Sabres, and that didn't work out too well on its own. But Jeff Skinner is not worth anywhere near $9 million, and it seems like the Sabres are really looking to use this cap flexibility going into free agency to bolster the team and make the push for the playoffs. We've seen them so close this season, so they want to add pieces to finally get him over that hump. Now, obviously, Jeff Skinner, who has been with the Sabres for quite a few seasons so far, put up 24 goals, 22 assists, and 46 points for the Sabres this past season. We've seen last year 35 goals, 47 assists, and then we also see the year before that 33 goals and 20 assists. Jeff Skinner is a scoring winger. He's not going to bring anything defensively. He's not going to be hard on the forecheck, but if you need a guy that can get you 20 goals, 40 goals, which he has done before, and 35 goals that he did just last season with the Buffalo Sabres, he is the exact piece you need. And this is what wants me to bring up the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs could use that middle six scoring to help them make a deep run in the playoffs and to get more contribution out of the bottom six. Now, when you do look at this, obviously back when Jeff Skinner signed his contract and went to Buffalo, he was going to Buffalo. He waived his no trade clause so he could play in Buffalo, where it's close to his hometown of Toronto, which is about a 2-hour drive away. Like I said in this, Jeff Skinner was signed to the $9 million after being acquired from Carolina Hurricanes, going to the Buffalo Sabres. And the biggest thing with them buying out, he's not going to be looking for this huge payday once again, as he's going to be getting paid a pretty penny to just not play for the Buffalo Sabres. So Jeff Skinner, who is from Toronto, originally went to the Buffalo Sabres to be close to home. This is a guy that's 32 years old. He still has a lot to give in the tank. And with the Leafs looking for the middle six scoring, for the bottom six scoring, this could be the perfect Nick Robertson replacement to get within this lineup. Obviously, Nick Robertson is either a fan favorite or everyone hates him. There's no in between, and it seems like there's people with pitchforks and there's people that love him. So with him still being a RFA, maybe they're going to look to move on from a guy like Nick Robertson. They could package his rights, sign and trade, whatever it might be. But putting Jeff Skinner into this top six, into this middle six, with star-studded power like Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, Mitch Marner, any of these guys would fit perfectly with Jeff Skinner. And this is where I think the Leafs really need to look at this and say, hey, we have the opportunity to bring in a hometown kid, a guy that's not going to hard forecheck. He's not going to be the best defensively, but you can make up with some of these pieces. I mean, if you're running back the season with a guy like David Kempf as your third line center, you need to add more scoring on this line. You have guys like Bobby McMahon, Carly Yarncroke. These guys can still produce for you, but none of these guys are 20 to 30 goal scorers like Jeff Skinner can bring in. If the Toronto Maple Leafs can bring in a guy like Jeff Skinner for roughly $2.5–3 million on a prove-it deal, he would be a perfect replacement not only for Nick Robertson, but if they lose a guy like Tyler Bertuzzi. Obviously, Tyler Bertuzzi has a different play style where he's a gritty player. He forechecks. He's going to be hard to play against, but Jeff Skinner adds the extra scoring that Craig Berube might want in his bottom six or middle six, like I said, where they can really just change the aspect of how this Leafs middle six plays. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? As Sabres fans, how do you feel about Jeff Skinner being bought out? Are you happy? Would you rather him just be trade half retained with a lot of prospects? Or would you rather just get rid of his contract, start fresh, and look into free agency? And as Leafs fans, what's your thoughts on bringing on Skinner into the middle six role to add scoring, to add that more just depth scoring onto the second power play as well? Let me know down in the comments, but we'll get straight into the second topic, which is Artur Akhtyamov joining the Leafs. We have reports saying that they're hearing that Artur is leaving AK Bars and continue his career in the Toronto system. Now, the biggest thing with this is a lot of people might be saying, hey, who's this guy? Who's this prospect coming over from the KHL? But this was a Leafs 4th round pick in 2020. 6'1", 168 pounds. He's a left-handed catch from Russia, playing in Russia at the age of 22. And he's looking like the possibility of being the future goalie of the Toronto Maple Leafs if things don't pan out with Joseph Woll. You still have guys like Hildeby, but you also have Artur, who can come over and still be a great goaltender for this Leafs team and possibly a starter at some point. Now, when you do look at him, this past season, 2023-2024, we see with Ak Bars, he did play in the KHL with a .921 save percentage. We see him get loaned to the VHL, which is the second-tier league of the KHL, with putting up a .927 save percentage going into the playoffs in 21 games. He had a .932 save percentage, went 16-5 with 2 shutouts. This guy's the real deal. He won the VHL Goalie of the Year. And every season he continues to impress. We can see last season playing in the KHL, he had 810 save percentage. Got sent down to the VHL 912, down to the MHL where he put up a 943. Just to bounce back in the VHL this season, putting up the 927 with the 932 in the playoffs. This guy's a gamer and he's going to be great at the age of 22, coming over sooner than a lot of people expected. He's going to have an impact on this Leafs team. As I said, we've seen reports of Joseph Woll signing this $3.5 million deal. Obviously, a backup goaltender or a 1B goaltender, if you want to look at it that way, still needs to be signed. But the Leafs have goalies of the future. Joseph Woll, if he can stay healthy, could be the next Leafs goalie of the future for the next couple of seasons. We have guys like Hildeby that's going to make an impact on this Leafs roster at some point, standing at, 6'5", 6'6". He's the Hildebeest. This guy's going to come up. And now, like I said, we have Arturs, who's going to make the debut for the Marlies as early as this next season, coming over, joining the system, finally putting his, just continuing his career in the Toronto system in North America, which is going to be huge for the Toronto Maple Leafs when they're looking to kind of use these guys as depth pieces, find the goalie of the future, find the goalie to finally get him out of the second round. I know it's not saying getting out of the first round anymore, which it kind of is, because I mean, it only happened once since 2004, but these guys are going to be impactful, and Artur is going to be a huge piece of this. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on him coming over? Do you think he's going to be the goalie of the future? Do you think I'm just kind of pumping his tires too much? Because I do truly think he's going to be an elite goaltender once he gets into North America, and we're going to see this make him join the Toronto Maple Leafs in the next 2 to 3 years if the development does continue. But let me know down in the comments. And speaking of comments, let's get into everyone's favorite topic, which is comments of the day. And the comment of the day comes from the Adventures of Jimmy Garoppolo. Shout out to you. I see you constantly commenting. It's awesome to have support from everyone. Tanev would be a real nice acquisition, and I do agree with this. I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of how old Chris Tanev is, how injury prone he might be, but Chris Tanev is an elite-handed right-handed defenseman. That would be huge for this team. But who's your guys' dream acquisition to get in free agency? Who do you hope they sign July 1st? They say, hey, pen to paper, we're bringing in this new face. And if you let us know down in the comments, you could be featured on the next episode like Jimmy did today. But that'd be it for this episode of Hat Trick HQ. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down and leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back later today, tomorrow. There's going to be so many videos, so you don't want to miss another episode. But I've been your host, Mark. Bye, and take care.